Paris, California. A quiet suburban street where the lawns are manicured and the houses look identical. It is a place where neighbors rarely look twice at their surroundings. Inside one of these homes, the air was stagnant, heavy, with a silence that did not belong in a family residence. David and Louise Turpin maintained a precise, calculated facade of normalcy to the outside world. A prison, their home, 13 children confined.
Hidden from any view. They were not residents, they were captives. Heavy chains linked them to their beds, restricting every movement to the confines of a mattress. The windows were blocked.
The lights were kept off, and the passage of time was marked only by the shifting of shadows. The parents moved through the house with a deliberate rhythm.
Lock-secured horror within.
Every chain was a deliberate choice. The nightmare was not happening in some distant, desolate place.
It was happening behind a standard suburban door, just feet away from the unsuspecting world. Survival inside the house became a series of desperate, small-scale hunts. When the parents were not looking, the children scavenged for discarded ketchup packets, hiding them like gold. Scraping ice, stomachs ached. Parents bought bikes, toys, placing them in plain sight but sealing them behind impossible barriers. These items sat as unreachable trophies.
Tangible reminders of a life the children were forbidden to touch. Any attempt to reach for food triggered immediate,
brutal consequences. The physical cost of this regime was visible in every room. Jennifer, 29 years old, weighed 80 pounds, her frame brittle and wasted.
Infant-like sibling, stunted growth, hollowed-out existence. The parents monitored their slow decay with total indifference,
enforcing the starvation as a matter of routine. The children moved like shadows, their ribs pressed against skin, their movements limited by the strength they no longer possessed.
Each hour, a tense vigil for watchful adult eyes. For 2 years, 17-year-old Jordan Turpin lived a double life. She kept a deactivated phone hidden,
using it to peer into the world beyond the walls. She studied the concept of law enforcement through the screen, learning that there were people who could stop the violence. Fear's grip broke the 14th of January 2018. Death loomed. Safety's guise shattered. Action, not waiting, ensured survival. Her heart hammered against her ribs, but her movements were precise. She waited for the house to settle into the familiar, suffocating rhythm of the afternoon. She moved toward the window, the deactivated phone clutched in her hand. She fled. Cold air kissed her face. She climbed out, dragging her body through the narrow gap. Outside, a law broken, the phone ready, prepared to risk her life to end the nightmare for her siblings. Jordan pressed the phone against her ear, her voice shaking but clear. "My 2 little sisters are chained up right now,"
she told the dispatcher. Minutes later, blue lights flooded the suburban street.
Officers forced the front door, the heavy lock giving way under the weight of the law. They stepped inside and stopped. The air was thick, heavy with the stench of years of filth.
They found the children in the gloom, so pale they appeared translucent, their bodies wasted and weak. Chains bit wrists. Officers stalked dark rooms, cutting chains and guiding the children toward the light. David and Louise were caught in the act. They scrambled to hide the restraints, their hands fumbling with the heavy iron.
But the officers moved faster. The handcuffs clicked shut around the parents' wrists. In the living room,
the children stood in the open for the first time, blinking as the daylight touched their skin. The silence that followed was not the quiet of terror, but the sudden, jarring stillness of a cage left wide open. The nightmare that had thrived behind closed doors was finally exposed to the world. Yet, the end of the home confinement was not the end of the struggle. Some children entered foster care,
only to encounter further abuse within the system meant to protect them. Red tape choked funds. Joshua fought for survival. The trajectory of their lives had been fundamentally altered. Jordan remained the architect of their salvation. Her single, frantic call from the window had intercepted a plan to move the family to Oklahoma,